Hello all. Big topic for us now, and that is managing objects or programming with objects or writing classes to create objects. This is the entirety of our semester, and that is using the code that you know inside of objects. So specifically, I'm referencing 5.1. So that is where what you should read, and I want to give you an introduction to this. Now, I fully realize that not always do you read every word of the book, and I understand that completely. I am guilty of that as well. This might be the only one, this whole unit, that you want to focus on completely, especially this page, just so that you get your head around what an object is and how that relates to a class definition. So take a look at this. They give you several examples of making an object from a class, or to flip that around, defining a class so that you can make and manage objects. And the idea is that once you have a class definition, you can create lots of objects from that class definition, and it's way easier to manage lots of objects than individual data for each object. So, for instance, student, as we'll look at, if you make an object of type students, you can embed all of the data for each student inside of that, and we'll look at an example. So backing up though, remember way back when, Unit 2, we talked about turtles. And we didn't make the class, but we made the turtles. We didn't write the class to make turtles. We just made the turtle right here, new turtle. And then right here, new turtle. And once we made that turtle, okay, it had data inside of it, like the color green or the color blue. As you can see, one was green, one was blue. It also had a position that it faced. And then once that data was stored in there, and you could make these things move in different directions by calling the commands or methods, calling the methods that was defined in the class turtle. So that part is not new. What is new is you are going to come up to a problem where you say, you know what, I need a program to manage a lot of students, let's say, or a lot of phones, or a lot of objects, whatever that object may be. So you define a class to make that happen. And I'm going to slide this over a little bit, and you can see in my code right here, I have a student class. I've made a student class to manage student objects. And the first thing you do is decide what data should be in each object of that type. And this basic list, but it's a start. Every object should have a first name, last name, and ID number. And that way, every student object that I make will have that information embedded in that object. If I go back to my program and my problem, again, what I said was I need a program to manage a lot of students. So a programmer makes a class that defines how to make student objects. And essentially, that is a specific data type, and that data type is student. So if I go back to my student class, and I have a way to create a student object called a constructor, more on that in a second. And I'll actually call that constructor to make a student object. That is when I say the word new. And then I also wrote a method that, for instance, gets the name of that particular object. And I'll call that method. And this is a coding bat puzzle, okay? A relatively simple one. The coding bat puzzle would have been something like, I want something that says last name, comma, first name. And so I just take that information and I print and I return it, and then I can call that method in my after I've made that object. So let's go back to where I'm going to make my objects in main. I'm going to slide that over so you can see it better. Scroll down, and here they are. I'm making a new student object called myStudent0. There's the words new student, and there is the constructor, Sally Jones, and Sally Jones's ID number. And then here's my second student, new student Sue Smith, and Sue's ID number. Okay. After that, I can start calling methods okay, with those objects. And as you can see down here, that my student 0.getName outputted last name comma first name, just like I wrote it over in the student class definition right here. So in the end, take a close look at this unit 5.1 section of the book and get used to using those variable or using those vocab words, instance variables, public, private, class, constructor, object. Take a look at the different types of objects that they talk about, what methods do. So spend some time with it, and we'll start programming with it next time.